The Brooklyn Nets fire Steve Nash and immediately hire Ime Udoka. We got Pat the Designer in the building. We're going to break it all down.
The number one place for your daily basketball fix, NBA Central. Hosted by the one and only CEO Haize.
Pat, I already talked about the firing of Steve Nash, or the agreeing to part ways. But less than an hour later, it felt like the
Yeah.
Nets are basically moving on to Ime Udoka, who the Celtics apparently let go ahead and move on. He was open to interview once they gave that permission. The Nets moved in. What do you think about Udoka becoming the head coach of the Brooklyn Nets, and is that going to right the ship? Is it going to help them keep Kyrie and Kevin Durant, who both kind of wanted to get out this offseason?
I think it will help with that. I think it does a good thing for keeping the players in the building. I don't know how much it helps with the rest of the season though, right? Like I think you'll see Udoka come in. I think you'll see him try to make some impact to the scheme that was in there or lack thereof, right? And try to make some impact to the defensive rotations of the Brooklyn Nets. But I think that the Brooklyn Nets just don't have a lot of talent outside of their top two players. If you want to include Ben Simmons in that, right, maybe he does right the ship throughout the year. He's a solid defender. He's a solid rebounder. Maybe Ime Udoka gets him to start being aggressive at the bucket again. But outside of that, dog, there's no defense on this team. There's mediocre rebounding, although you wouldn't be able to tell by watching the Bulls tonight. There's mid-level closing out on the defensive end and understanding where you're supposed to be at best. And that's really pretty much the most of the team, even after they get back Seth Curry, TJ Warren, and Marquise Morris. Like, I don't see any of those guys contributing to it. So I think Ime will help keep the Nets, Kevin Durant and those guys around. I don't know if it changes the long run of this season, though.
That's fair. That's fair. I think it's early enough still in the season to where it could have an impact. Typically, adding a head coach mid-season, I wouldn't think that it's going to do much. But honestly, I think with how young the season is, we're 8 games into the season, only at the third week of a 19-week season.
Yeah.
I think that there may be enough time for him to do some things. Maybe motivated. I don't really know how Udoka is as a motivator, but we could very well see it may just coincide with also Ben Simmons getting back in rhythm. Yeah, Ben Simmons looks terrible this season, but how much are we laying at the feet of that he was out of basketball for a year? So it could be a couple of things that break right for this team. I do think that Ime is going to immediately help with the defensive schemes for sure.
Yeah.
I think him bringing that over is going to help with them. Not necessarily saying it's going to stop them from being, or all of a sudden make them a top 15 defense from being
still got to have the
15.
talent.
Yeah. But you will see some improvement there. And I'm also looking at it like this. Like, shout out to them for getting their coach, not having to suffer a whole still most of a season with a interim coach. They're bringing in a head coach that they have fit and see fit as being the coach for the future. He gets to go ahead and set his culture now. Doesn't get to have a full offseason with them, of course, but like I shout out to I like what the Nets did this. I like that they went after aggressive, that they contacted the Celtics, asked if they saw what the situation was there. They made a move for their guy, bring him in, and we'll see what that does for the team overall.
Would you have rather, because right at the end of the day, it's all about competition, right? We know why the Celtics suspended him, because they didn't want him to immediately go to the Nets when the Nets started the season. They didn't want, would you have rather them be like, nope, he's still suspended?
No,
and on some competition stuff, on some, hey, listen, we're not going to let Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving get in our way of winning a championship.
No, because I think at this point, I think the Nets wanted to move on from the situation. To be honest, I think that they just wanted to move on. I'm sorry, not the Nets, the Celtics wanted to move on from the embarrassment of the situation. And, now they have a coach down there who's off to a pretty good start coaching the Celtics. And maybe now they lock him in as the, not the interim, the permanent head coach. And they get to put that chapter of whatever happened, as brief as it did happen this offseason, behind them and just move on.
No, 100%. I thought that it was funny to me, right? Because it was, I think that you almost could tell that at the beginning of the season, right? They weren't working through anything. You knew they were going to fire Ime. You knew they weren't going to bring him back to the team when everybody was like, oh, snap, it's bad. Like, it's real bad. Mm-hmm. And then, we kind of still end up in a situation where they suspend him instead of firing him okay, now that the story's out, now it's like, okay, now it's okay to fire him. So I thought that was a little bit interesting. But I think the Brooklyn Nets, listen, at the end of the day, I think you got a heck of a head coach. I talked about Ime Udoka when he was available. I wanted the Bulls to get him, mostly just for Neil Long coming to the city. But thank God now. Like, I don't know how far we can go in NBA Central. You know what I mean? Like, I guess
as far as you want. We know.
Hey, listen. I guess now she can still come to the city. Neil, pull up. What's good?
All right, now. Maya gonna pull up behind you, and I'm just gonna be looking like I have nothing to do with this. Nothing to do with
Fresh
this.
off of Halloween.
Now, moving on from that whole situation, one thing that I do want to talk about before we go and just this quick update, the Josh Primo situation. Unrestricted free agent right now.
Oh, that situation. Oh.
No, not that. The whole controversy about it.
it.
Have you ever seen somebody potentially lose their career for such a dumbass reason?
What's going on with dudes getting rich and joining the NBA and just like whipping it out, just slapping it on the table, being like, "What's good with it?"
Listen, because I guess they feel like, "Hey, I'm in the NBA, motherfucker. Here we go."
I mean, like, I'm just right. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just confused on that part.
Didn't
like,
Eddie Curry do that at one point too?
I think Eddie Curry got in on that a little bit. You know what I mean? Like it's, you can pay people that's about that life, and you make good money. You make really good money. You don't have to like just. Oh, ma'am, excuse me. How you doing?
Josh Primo. Would
you like to see my? You know what I mean? Like, Josh Primo. Let me show you my Primo Maximum. Like what? What are you? Like why? I'm so confused on this whole situation. And then he comes out with some. What was his line on Instagram?
I'm focusing on my mental health.
My mental health. I've got past trauma. You caused the trauma. You are the trauma. I don't know. That's really some toxic ass shit, bro.
Like you said, to cause the trauma and be like, oh, by the way, I'm focusing on my mental health.
Hey, bro, listen. I never thought about that. That is pretty toxic. You're the trauma. And the first thing you say, hey, man, I just got to focus on my mental health. Really got to get myself together. You know, I apparently I wasn't whipping it out the right way. Thought that if I came with a side approach, I could just foul. But, you know, maybe they like more of a boom. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Yeah, no, he's an idiot. He's getting basically whatever's coming to him. I think the Spurs technically still have to pay him his guaranteed money.
Yeah, so they have to eat that whole contract. Now, if somebody would have claimed him off waivers, they wouldn't have had. But since they
ain't nobody gonna do that.
After just picking up his option, by the way, they got to pay that whole salary, which is wild. But here's a question I want to ask you. Yes, the situation is terrible. I don't want to make light of it. It's disgusting. It's terrible. And, you know, if charges end up coming to him, he got to eat that. But considering he's a former 12th overall pick just a year ago, do you think that teams are going to overlook that and potentially sign Josh Primo as somebody who still has a lot of potential in this league?
Probably not this season. Probably not even next season. I think some time is going to pass. Some therapy sessions are going to have to happen. More than likely, a trial is going to have to go down. I don't think that Josh Primo's all the way done in the NBA. Because, right, like at the end of the day, talent trumps all. And Josh Primo is actually a decent player. He's a really, I don't know if he's a really great player, but he was good.
He's a good prospect.
He's a good prospect.
You haven't seen enough from enough to say one way or another, but there's still some potential there as a player.
And for me, right, like that's the part that I look at, and it's like talent trumps all. If there's potential, if there's opportunity, as crazy as the situation is with Bridges down in
I think Bridges
Charlotte,
is a little bit different.
I think it's a lot different, right? Like very, but like, can he play basketball? There's somebody that's gonna say, and guess what the terminology is gonna be? You know what? We've talked with him, and we all believe that everybody deserves a second.
I don't know in this day and age, bro. Like not with that. Like, and the thing too with that is outside of with the Miles Bridges situation. Keep in mind he hasn't been officially suspended by the NBA yet. Yeah, because they have to wait for him to be charged.
Yeah. He hasn't been charged with nothing.
Yeah, but if he is charged, that suspension is coming there short after. So I think teams are staying away from him for that partially as well, because you can sign him, you can bring him to your team technically, and then in a couple of months, if the police decide to go ahead and move forward with those charges, you've now signed him, and he's out of there. So,
and I think that's the thing, right? Like, my point being that not that any of these guys should be allowed to continue, but we just know how sports is. At the end of the day, if you can play, talent trumps all. At the end of the day, if you're talented, talent trumps all. We've seen some real douchebags keep their jobs.
I think we're also entering the age too where that may start coming to not a complete end, but I mean, you got to have world beater talent to overlook some of this. Like the Miles Bridges thing, if you ain't got franchise talent, I don't know if you're going to come back from that soon, right? We're talking about maybe 2 or 3 years down the line, possibly. Yeah. Josh Primo, though, with the situation that he's in, I can see him go play over in Europe for the rest of the season and next offseason.
Right back.
Be right back.
It comes down to talent for me, right? Like, AB's a weirdo. If he said, I want to play in the NFL again, somebody would look at him. Somebody look at him and be like, hey, can you catch 15 balls a year? Like, yeah, and I fit 50 balls a year. Yeah, I mean, like,
that's also funny enough. That's the same thing that Ime Udoka in his prospect list he's asking people to. By the way,
hey, miss, can you catch 50 balls a year? How's your chest pass? You know what I'm glad about the Ime situation? That it turned out to be something mad regular. Like, I thought how Muggs was talking about the situation, I thought we were heading down like he was finna be sent to jail. He was about to get up on charges. He was about to, like, I thought it was like some unconsensual stuff going on. Bro, when I found out that he just knocked somebody's wife down and they was upset about it, I was like,
well, he also kept it going after they tried to cut it off. He kept pushing it, that part too. But that happens in so many workplaces. Not to say that it's still normal. It's not cool, but that's a workplace thing that happens all the time.
But I can deal with weirdo over, it's unconsensual and I'm forcing it. Like, he's a weirdo. He's a weirdo. Okay, I can deal with you being a weirdo. He looks like a weirdo. I mean, Nia Long made him look not like a weirdo. By the way, Nia Long, we got Chicago job openings available if you ever need to shoot a movie.
Hey, don't you need an intern over in the Woody Sea Breeze?
Hey. So let me keep my job here right now.
Oh man, but that's any other surprises or anything from you so far in this NBA season, bro? Before we go ahead and shut it down.
Surprises in this season? Probably how well Cleveland's played. Cleveland's
bro, I think really we both have to eat that one, bro.
I gotta hold that one. Atlanta still looks like they trying to put it together. Like they don't look bad, but they just look like it's a puzzle piece to put together. Now I will say this, right? You basically just turned them into the Cleveland Jazz because immediately Devin.
Well, Garland's been out too.
Garland's been out, yeah. So I think you immediately turned him into the Cleveland Jazz, and so it's a situation that Donovan Mitchell fits a little bit better in. I don't know if we got to eat it all the way because
we got to wait and see once Garland gets back. Because
it could be a reference back to Ime. Yeah. But
wow.
I can't get these jokes off.
Oh, you can definitely get them off.
I love it. He's like factual though.
Factual. Yeah, factual. I think the biggest surprise to me is
there's so much sexual stuff going on in sports.
Bro,
what are y'all on?
Bro, motherfuckers is creeps, bro. That's what it is.
Y'all weirdos out here.
But I think the biggest surprise for me is the play of Lauri Markkanen. Like, he's the most improved player in the NBA so far this season. 22 points, 9.3 rebounds, 3 assists on a PER of 23.12. Like, he is balling, bro, and averaging a block per game.
Here's the thing that I'll say, though. Did we ever think Lauri couldn't play basketball?
No.
For me, my issue with Lauri Markkanen was never ability, it was availability.
It was even more than availability, though. So it was mindset a little bit. That Boylan era, I think, completely, because again,
Boylan era messed him up.
It messed him up mentally. It definitely did. It definitely did.
The Boylan era messed him up. But I look at it too, and I'm just like, Lauri's playing like I knew he could play. Lauri's playing like I said on the Breeze one time. I said, Lauri Markkanen, when he wants to be dominant, looks like one of the best power forwards in the NBA. But whenever he's dominant, he breaks something. So I don't know if maybe it was a change in diet, maybe it was a change in something changed. And now he looks like he's playing. Granted, it's also early in the season, but he looks like he's healthier. He looks like he's doing a little bit more on the court. Looks like he's moving a little bit better.
Playing the best defense of his career.
Playing the best defense we've ever seen. And now, granted, right, it's a lot of like closeout blocks at the rim. Larry was pretty good at that in Chicago. I was good at blocking shots. He was good at being big. The one thing I will say I think is the biggest change with Lauri Markkanen as well is finishing dunks. Lauri Markkanen did not dunk on people in Chicago. He was the king of the almost dunking on people.
Yeah, a couple of times. February Markkanen dunked on a couple of people.
February Markkanen. Why we got all our players in February, bro? That's why.
No, it's just him. It's just him and Mirotic.
Him, Mirotic. Well, no, Mirotic was December. Mirotic had that December that changed us from getting Luka Doncic to Lauri Markkanen. But yeah, no, I think that I'll say another thing that surprised me. And maybe this is the biggest effect of Donovan Mitchell. The Evan Mobley that we saw last year is not the Evan Mobley that we are seeing this season. His points per game and his totals and a lot of his averages and where I thought he was going to be dominant at. Now, still defensively, he's a monster, right? Him and Jared Allen standing next to each other is ridiculous. But Evan Mobley looking a little less assertive standing next to Donovan Mitchell and Jared Allen and those boys.
I mean, that's kind of naturally going to happen as well. I think we have such a ball dominant player down there, but I mean, he's still averaging more points per game. He still has a highest usage rate than last season. So I mean, I get what you're saying, but he's a second-year player.
I just thought, Evan Mobley, I mean, the Evan Mobley we saw last year was the focal point of the offense, and I know that that's going to change this year. I guess it's slowly working its way in the right direction too, but it feels like he's been a lot more passive this season. He hasn't been as dominant on the boards. He hasn't been as dominant down low offensively. I think defensively he hasn't lost a step. He's a monster.
I mean, that's fair.
My fear is, right, don't you dare turn Evan Mobley into Rudy Gobert. By the way, the Rudy Gobert who all of a sudden can play basketball again when he's not standing next to Donovan Mitchell.
Remove that toxicity. Yeah, I mean, hey, it is what it is, man. Shout out to that trade working for everybody. Like, it's working for Donovan Mitchell so far. See what happens with Darius Garland comes back. It's been working for Rudy Gobert. And they just need it first. Sometimes first starts are just needed, brother.
Hey, Rudy Gobert's only getting 11 shots. 11 shots in the last game versus the Lakers. 22 and 21.
There you go. You said it. You called it.
All I need is 11 shots.
Yeah. Listen, there you have it, bro. But go ahead and plug your social media, man. Let's get up out of here.
Hey, man, follow me on everything at Pat The Designer, man. You go. You see me had a stroke right there. What was that? Mm-hmm. You can always check me out over on the Windy City Breeze. We always posting over there. So tune in with us. We do a daily show every day from 11 to 12 that Haize sometimes likes to jump in the comments on and call me an idiot. So for sure, tune in with that. Sure.
I mean, I don't ever call you an idiot. More P Kid, but I don't call you an idiot. You guys can follow me at CEO Haize, CEO Haize. We out this month.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.